I really wanted to move to LA because I was seeing all the stuff that was happening here, and like music and fashion and just the weather. It was just like a dream for me. I would shoot for blogs for free, basically, just a way to kind of get a lot of practice. I didn't have, like, I tried to never be like, I'm gonna keep doing this for free forever sort of thing. I would usually be like if they would hit me back for stuff, I'd be like, okay, cool, well, here are my rates. Dyro was the first artist who ever, like, later on he ended up Venmoing me or something and was like, by the way, like, you know, I don't think that any artist should be working for free, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, so he, like, did that for me, which was super nice, and I'll always, like, love him, like, as a person and as an artist because of that. One of his managers, Jen Stein, she hit me up and was like, we're gonna put you on a couple dates with Ghastly if you're down.
Hi, this is Lauren Engel of Sidewalk Talk. I'm here with Jennica.
Hi.
So were you born in St. Louis? Or?
I was, yeah. I lived there for basically all my life, and then I spent 6 months, like the last 6 months of college, in Switzerland. Oh. And then I still lived there for like 2 years back in St. Louis, and then came here in August of 2014. Yeah. My dad was a doctor. He's retired now. Who actually went back to school for music, which is crazy. Oh, wow. Yeah. But his residency was in St. Louis or something, or that's where he got, something like that. Yeah. And then they just stayed, unfortunately.
And then what did your mom do? What does she do now?
She has a degree in computer science, so she like develops software and stuff. Yeah. She's super nerdy, but she's also very creative. Yeah. She like knits and sews and does beading and like travels to like teach around the country and stuff. Yeah, she's crazy.
That's so cool. How would you describe yourself back then growing up?
A little angsty ball of terror. I don't know, it was awful. Just like a normal 15-year-old plus maybe like even more angry. So yeah.
What were your favorite subjects back then?
Well, actually probably photography, because I started in my like sophomore year of high school. Yeah. Just on a whim. And then my teacher was like, oh, these photos are really good, and I just stuck with it. Yeah.
So you were always like excelling in more of the creative subjects from the onset.
I guess. I never really thought of myself as like an artist. I kind of always felt like I was faking it, honestly.
Really?
Yeah.
Why?
I don't know. It's so weird. Like, I felt like everyone else, it came more naturally to, and I felt like it was more what I wanted to do, you know? I don't know. Yeah. But before that, I wanted to do like psychology or interior design. Oh, wow.
Okay, so you took the photography class. How did you even get like a camera? Did they give it to you as a gift, or?
I started off using my mom's like film camera, because it was just a black and white photo class, so we developed the film ourselves and, you know, like made the prints ourselves, and I just had her old like automatic, I don't even know what it was, maybe a Fujifilm or something. Yeah. But not like a detachable lens or anything. Yeah. And then I think my first camera was the Canon Rebel, like most people.
Yeah, same.
Yeah. And then I also got the film Canon Rebel. Yeah. So, yeah.
And then were you also teaching yourself? Like, were you watching YouTube tutorials, or like how did you even figure out a color grade and everything?
Honestly, I didn't really like learn. I didn't strive to learn as much as I should for some reason, but I mean, for my color palette, I just kind of would see like photographers that I liked, and I noticed like how rich and vibrant their colors were, but still having like a muted sort of dark feeling. Yeah. And it was just honestly trial and error. Yeah. Like sometimes I'd be like, oh yeah, this is it, and then other times I'd be like, I have no idea what I'm doing.
What were the first photographers that you looked up to when you first started?
Like when I first started,
like Annie, way back.
Like Annie Leibovitz for sure. And yeah, I mean mostly just like the classic photographers you learn about in like school. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean because it was so much harder to find good photographers and like.
Really? I mean, wasn't like Flickr kind of big? Like, I guess when we were in high school, like in the U.S. Flickr was big, not really in Hong Kong.
Oh yeah. I mean Flickr and like PhotoBucket. Yeah. Yeah, but like, you know, it would get lost. Like people's photos would get lost because you could just download and like repost them. Oh. Yeah.
What kind of stuff were you shooting back then?
Honestly, well, I realized that like I mean I wasn't thinking about it at the time, but I did like a lot of self-portraits for like MySpace.
Oh.
Like not just like the classic like Engel ones. And I would do like elaborate ones, like stupid stuff. Like I look back and it's so cringy, but it's what I liked.
Yeah.
Other than that, I mean I would shoot always people still, and then like architecture.
Yeah.
And yeah, just random stuff. I had no rhyme or reason.
What did you like most about shooting people? Like even from the beginning you realized you really like doing portraits?
Well, I mean I've always had a big passion for like fashion and just weird or elaborate sort of things. And I liked that I could control a lot about portraits. And I mean, I don't know, yeah, I think it's more of a control thing because I could like I would bring like all the clothes and stuff, and sometimes I'd even do their makeup, so I just kind of have like full creative control, which I really liked. And I don't know, there's just something that's more like warm about like shooting people, even though I don't really consider myself a huge people person. Just a little bit more introverted, but like I don't know, I like shooting people just because I don't know, I feel like it's more, well, I don't know how to explain it, just it's easier to like engage with like a photo for me visually and as like the one creating it. Yeah. If there's a person in it. I don't know.
And then for college, did you go to college for photography or?
Yeah, I went to Webster in St. Louis, which is like a private university, and it's in commercial photography. Yeah. I could have done the art program, but I'm like not good at painting or drawing. Oh. And I'm also too impatient for it. So I just did that, and it also like taught you about like media and the law and like copyright stuff. Yeah. Because I always heard that like school doesn't prepare you to be an artist, so.
Yeah. Were your parents supportive of you studying photography?
Like kind of. I mean they were, because they helped me pay for it. Yeah. But I mean, I think it always kind of made them nervous, but like they knew from my years as like an angsty teen, they knew better than to kind of try and bargain with me, because I always just did whatever I wanted. Yeah. So I think they just would have like preferred me to go to school than not at all. Yeah. I mean, I was always going to go to school, but I just felt like they were like, well, as long as she's in school, it's good. Yeah. So.
Actually, did it ever occur to you to just go straight into photography?
No. Yeah. Like, I mean, I kind of wish I did in some ways, because I definitely learned a lot in school, but I learned way more afterwards. And in school, it was more like a security thing for me. Like, I felt like I needed to just have a piece of paper so that if all else failed, then I would be like, well, I still like, you know, I'm a responsible human. And I don't know, it was definitely good for discipline. Yeah. You know?
What does commercial photography actually entail? I feel like I rarely hear that like phrase being brought up.
Honestly, I don't really see any difference in it, except that like they teach you more about like studio stuff, and I think the commercial thing comes from just like all the extra stuff that's not photography related. Like they would teach you about like entrepreneurship and like how to do your taxes and
how about like negotiations.
Yeah, kind of. I mean, yeah, they do.
Yeah, so that is pretty. I mean, I wish I learned all that.
Yeah, honestly, I wish I took way more classes, and I wish I didn't rush through it, because I just wanted to like start my life and start doing it, and I just felt like I took like 18 credit hours, and I just kind of filled my brain really quickly, and wish I could go back for like video and.
Oh, true. Yeah. So you weren't doing like video at all back then? Or
no. Yeah. I mean, I don't do a whole lot now. It's more just I don't know, whenever I'm inspired and then whenever I'm requested. Yeah. But definitely video is a vast world it's a lot of similarities to photo, but definitely very, very different.
Yeah. So what happened after you graduated, right?
Yeah, so I graduated and I went back to St. Louis because I was in Switzerland at the time. And
what was actually, so Switzerland, was that more of a study abroad or like?
Yeah. So I studied abroad there because Webster had a campus in Geneva, which is like right on the border of France.
I actually just studied abroad in Geneva
also. Oh, nice. Yeah, I love it there. and like it was cool because I had studied 4 years of French, so I knew enough to get me around, kind of. And I had a internship with this Swiss photographer there, and so that was like the main reason for me going, aside from actually wanting to just be overseas.
What did you learn from interning with these people?
I mean, like just kind of workflow and just how to be professional and just kind of like etiquette more so. Because for the photographer that I was working with, his name's Oliver O'Hanlon, and he's amazing. He's like a documentary photographer, and he knew that I had more of an emphasis in like portraiture, so he was we were kind of helping each other, which was a really cool thing. And yeah, I mean, I learned so much, but definitely more about like etiquette, I would say.
Yeah.
And just also how to work like as a team, because they don't really necessarily teach you that in school. Like you don't really have group. I didn't really have group projects in like photo classes. Like it was just like you do this, like, and then you turn it in. It wasn't like you guys have to work on this together, and one person like maybe creative directs, or you know. It wasn't. So it's definitely good for that, because you can't do it all on your own forever.
And then, okay, so you graduated, then you moved back, and then...
Yeah, so I moved back, and I worked, like, a little bit of freelance, but there's not a whole lot of stuff that I can shoot. That
were you living with your parents?
No, I moved out. I was living with them all through school, because they insisted. Like, they just wanted me to save money and stuff, even though I was ready to go. So yeah, I moved out pretty much immediately after coming back, and yeah, that was my first apartment, and it was great. And I was basically just doing a little bit of freelance, but there's not that much cool stuff to shoot there, like at least the market for it.
Were you working like another job then?
So basically since I was 18, I only worked in photography. I worked at this like terrible cafe when I was 18, and I was like, this is it, I'm not doing this anymore. Like I don't want to do anything that's not photo related. So I had like different photo jobs. Like I'd work under a wedding photographer. And I worked at like a commercial studio, which is more like babies and families and not really creative stuff, except every once in a blue moon. But after college, I was taking like baby photos, but they were a bit more artistic. It wasn't just like, I don't know, but definitely very different from what I do now.
Were you able to like cover all your rent with what you earned back then?
I
think a lot of people who are watching this are curious, like how to even make the step at the beginning to be like a photographer and like have it their full-time job.
Well, I mean, the job that I had paid really well for not that many hours.
Was it like people contacting you directly for the baby photos, or it was like under a company that you were doing
it was under a company. And
so it was kind of like a part-time thing that you were signed under, and you had to like...
Yeah, but I mean, I made a lot of money, like in comparison to my rent in St. Louis. So so it was great, because I was able to like save a lot and still travel a lot. But I've always been really careful with money. And like, just my parents were always very conservative with money, I guess. Like, they don't like spend it on like crazy stuff. They're not like super ostentatious most of the time. Actually, at the end of college, I remember one of my professors told me like I really wanted to do fashion at the time, still do, but she was like, I think you're just ready to go to New York and just do it. And I was like, I don't know, like New York is not really where I wanted to end up ever. Like it's nice there, but it never drew me, and so I just kind of waited, and I kind of regret waiting, but also, I mean, got to travel a lot. But so during the 3 to 4 years that I was doing that, I really wanted to move to LA, because I was seeing all the stuff that was happening here, and like the music and fashion and just the weather. It was just like a dream for me. And had plans with like 7 or 8 different people, friends in St. Louis, to move to LA and like get an apartment, and none of them are here right now, so I'm glad that I didn't wait. But like that, I would say like a year or so, I was just kind of like waiting for other people to move with me, and then finally I came here to visit, and I was like, I don't know, I just realized it was the time, it was perfect. And also found a room. Didn't have a job or that many connections, really. No one that, like, helped me, certainly.
Yeah.
And I just came here with a room, which was, like, probably one of the hardest parts, I guess, of moving anywhere. Just, like, finding somewhere to stay.
How are you, like, how did you even, like, try to get in the industry at the beginning then?
So I would shoot for blogs for free, basically, just a way to kind of get a lot of practice and...
Like events or festivals?
Yeah, both, yeah.
Okay.
So, I mean, there wasn't too much of a music scene at the time in St. Louis. It was, I mean, it's a bit better now, but so pretty much any show I'd be, like, waiting for a couple weeks, and I'd email either, I mean, I would just Google search, like, whatever the DJ's name was, like, and, like, Gmail, because almost everyone has a Gmail account, and it's almost always, like, pretty similar to their handle on socials. So I would just figure out, like, how to get in contact with them, whether it was them or their manager. Like, I'm really good at internet stalking, as, like, most of us are. So yeah, I did that, and then in addition to, you know, sending the blogs of photos, every day after the event or the night of even, I would quickly edit them and then send just email, or if I couldn't, like, email them, I would tweet at them, be like, hey, I got some cool photos of you, I'd love to send, blah, blah, blah. And that was when I was still living in St. Louis, and then I kind of just kept doing that in LA. But I was also meeting people at the same time. Yeah. And
were you meeting people at the shows that you did the pictures for the blogs for, or
kind of, yeah. So basically, I mean, I met most of the people that I know through really, like, one person. My friend Greg, I'm not going to say his last name because I don't know how to pronounce it that well, and I'm going to mess it up, but Greg, he was working with Awe from Team Supreme. Yeah. And the blog that I was working with also had to connect with Team Supreme, so they were like, hey, let me set you up so you can shoot their show at Echoplex. And I came and I shot and I sent them the photos and, like, met a bunch of people, and everyone was super nice. And Greg was like, yeah, we love the photos, like, we'd love to have you keep coming and shooting and blah, blah, blah. And so he kind of took me under his wing and just introduced me to so many people, and was also a really good friend as well. Yeah. And still is a really good friend, still, like, supports me so much and still hires me for stuff. And yeah, he was, like, the first person to ever really put me on in LA. Yeah. And then, I mean, he introduced me to other people. Then, yeah, it's one big web of music industry people. And now I barely know anyone who doesn't work in music.
And this is something I asked also, like, Sanho's photographer and Quasar, but, like, you were doing stuff initially for free. How are you able to, like, bridge it and be like, okay, I want to get paid now?
God, that is such a good question. I mean, honestly, I didn't have, like, I tried to never be like, I'm going to keep doing this for free forever sort of thing. I would usually be like, if they would hit me back for stuff, I'd be like, okay, cool, well, here are my rates. Sometimes.
So you do, like, some for free, and then you're like, okay, this is it, like, I'm going to start charging you.
Yeah, it's honestly, I still don't really remember exactly how I did it, because it's such a weird, uncomfortable thing, like, asking for money, basically. Yeah. I mean, I still hate talking about, like, pricing. I mean, obviously I have to do it, otherwise I don't pay rent. But yeah, I mean, it would kind of just be like, here's what I can do, and if you like it, this is the price for next time. Yeah. But, like, honestly, most of my clients came from just word of mouth. Like, I didn't really shoot artists for free. It was more, like, for blogs. And
true.
Yeah, so
they never pay anyway.
Exactly. So I was like, well, that's never gonna happen. It's more just like a stepping stone. Yeah. And then, you know, artists would, like, follow me back and, you know, kind of keep in touch. And then, I mean, it's all about, like, planting seeds, really. Yeah. You know? So, I mean, I still have artists who I shot and just, like, handed off the photos, like, here, hope you like them, tag me if you do, you know, sort of thing. And, like, 2 years down the line, it, like, comes full circle and they'll hire me for stuff. Oh, wow. Even though my photos now are, like, way different from back then. And, like, honestly, I just did a lot of cold emails as well. I forgot back in the day. And,
like, just being like, this is my portfolio.
Managers, artists,
What was the kind of response when you, like, do a cold email and then they're, like, down and then you ask for rates? So, like, normally do they just are like, oh, okay, I get it now? Or do they actually be like, okay, yeah, we do have something?
Yeah, it's really, it's kind of, it depends on the situation, but normally, I don't know, like, sometimes people are like I would sometimes it would be like, here's my portfolio, like I'd love to come shoot for you guys, I saw that you're coming to town, whatever, and sometimes it'd be like, cool, yeah, we set you up with just a photo pass. And I was like, okay, cool, that's nice, you know, whatever. Yeah. But then occasionally it would be like, all right, cool, what are your rates? But I mean, back then when I was doing most of the cold emailing, I do way more. I mean, I did way more than I do now. But I mean, I understand why I wasn't hired for that much through the cold emailing, because like I felt like I was ready, but I really wasn't. Like looking back on my photos, I mean, there's kind of like inklings of like what could be in there when I look back. But I mean, I don't know. There's like all these processes, I feel, kind of like a ebb and flow of like feeling like you're doing really well and you deserve to like be paid or be paid more, or, you know, get considered for cool opportunities. And then you kind of come back down and you see like a photographer that you really love, or, you know, artist you really love, and you're like, damn, I'm not shit. Like, like I suck compared to this. And like, and then it just kind of, you feel like really bad about yourself. And then you kind of study them and study what you like about different photos and stuff. And you can kind of use that to find your own sort of vibe. And I don't know, I mean, it still happens to me like all the time. Like I'll be like, damn, my photos are boring. And like why does anyone like them? Like I need to be like so much better. I'm never gonna, you know, like I feel like any creative probably goes through something like that. But yeah.
And who were the first like proper clients you had?
So Wolf was the first artist who ever like. Really?
What year was that?
It was 2000. It was late 2014, I guess. Or no, late 2015, I think. He was the first person who ever hired me for press shots, and actually back then I was too shy to ask for money because we were friends. Because he was living in LA for a while that summer. And he's like, hey, I need some press shots. Like, do you want to do it? And I was like, sure. Like that would be great. And so we did them, and I like edited them and whatever. And he, like later on, he ended up Venmoing me or something and was like, by the way, like, you know, I don't think that any artist should be working for free, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, so he, like, did that for me, which was super nice, and I'll always, like, love him, like, as a person and as an artist because of that, because he's great in so many ways, but, yeah, he was the first person ever, like...
That's so funny, because I did the press shots for him, I'm trying to remember, in New York, maybe around the same time or a bit later, but that's so funny how we both did stuff for him.
Yeah. Oh, I love Sajib. He's such a good guy. Like, yeah, he was the first person to ever basically book me a hotel room and stuff, like when I was shooting for him, so. Other than that, I mean, it's honestly kind of a blur. That stands out to me. He was the first person to, like, have me come on a tour date before.
Yeah, actually, what was that like from, like, shooting shows to... Was it so you were doing few shows with him, or, like, how...
It was, like, one-offs, because, I mean, he was still really coming up. I remember, like, when I was talking to him, we were talking about, like, SoundCloud DJs, and he was like, I hope that I'm, like, more than a SoundCloud DJ now. And I was like, yeah, you are, obviously. This is, like, right after Indian Summer had come out. But, yeah, I mean, it was a couple just one-offs, like, festivals here and there. Just basically the LA dates. Or, like, San Diego and stuff. And, I mean, it was what I've been waiting for, you know, for, like, anyone.
Was it kind of similar to when you were shooting for vlogs? Like, were they requiring the same pictures, or was it more like your style kind of changed for especially those tour pictures?
Well, I mean, I wasn't shooting really like crowd shots. And also
so it's more like close-up of them playing, which you weren't able to get before.
Exactly,
right?
Like you can't always get like stage access, or like get in the booth. So I was like, finally I can take all the photos that I've been like seeing other people sort of take and do my version of it, you know?
Did that come easy to you?
Kind of, yeah. I mean, I feel like I'm pretty good at replicating things, even though it's like one thing I'm trying not to do, like, at all, or as little as possible, because it's so easy to. But yeah, I mean, I never really had the style of like a big EDM photographer. Like, I'm never gonna be like Rooks or Odagio or anything. But I mean, they have a very like, I feel like their style is more commercial compared to mine, and everyone always calls mine like artsy or I don't know, something. So, yeah, like artistic, or just, I have a little bit of a different approach to it, I think, than a lot of like club photographers. Because it just drives me insane, like taking the same photo over and over, you know? So, yeah.
And then how did you meet Ghastly and start to do his pictures?
So I actually met him at Space Yacht, like one of the first few, because I've been going since like the third one back in 2015, or 14. I don't know, man. It was a long time ago. I met him because, I mean, it started off as a really like exclusive, not exclusive, but like it was invite only. Your name had to be on the list, and it like never filled up. It was at this tiny little venue called Golden Box in Hollywood, which you had to enter through a parking lot, so it was like really hard to even find. And yeah, so we met there like a few times, just kind of drinking and partying, but we always kept in touch. Like, he was super nice always. And then I guess it was in April or May that his one of his managers, Jen Stein, she hit me up and was like, we're gonna put you on a couple dates with Ghastly if you're down. And I forgot, he actually had also DM'd me on Twitter, and he was like, hey, do you want to come on a couple gigs with me? And I was like, yeah, of course. The first one was to San Diego, and we ended up just taking the train. Just because, like, it's stupid to fly there. And then it was mostly just flyaway dates. Like, I actually still haven't been on like a bus tour. It's always been flying or driving,
And then how did you meet Lauv?
So, Lil Aaron, who's a friend of mine, and he's a mutual friend of ours, and he ended up recommending me to Ari, Lauv. And so I did his press shots about a year and a half ago when he had just moved to LA, and he looked very different. It was like, he had like the fade on the sides. Like, he looked like a totally different artist to me. So we did press shots and, you know, kind of vibe. He was such a nice guy, and then, you know, kind of we kept in touch, but nothing really for a few months, and then he hit me up to do artwork for his really big song, I Like Me Better, which is like the blue rose with the paint, and from there we just kind of really vibed and seemed to have like the same kind of creative mindset, and and then just always kept in touch and kept doing more and more, and he's a really great guy, really good friend.
And then was it a world tour that you were a part of with him, or?
I was basically on it was a tour with Louis the Child for 2 weeks, and then after that, it was a tour in Asia with, he was opening for Ed Sheeran.
Crazy. Yeah, I interviewed him right before he did
I saw that.
That's so funny. Damn.
Yeah.
Was there anything like that was surprising to you, like from being just like a event photographer to like actually being like a touring photographer?
I guess like the fans like was kind of a lot, in like in a good way. Like it was strange to me, like their fans like knowing my name and stuff, and like I'd be like shooting on stage and I'd hear my name and I was like, what? It was like people in the crowd waving to me, which is
that's rare for photographers.
No, totally. I was like I mean, it's obviously not why I got into this. Like I'm pretty like behind the scenes for the most part, so it was a surprise. A nice surprise, but wasn't quite prepared for it.
And then upcoming, like, you told me like a bunch of things. I'm so excited for you. So more stuff like, was it more galleries or like?
I think I'm gonna be I'll be one of the artists showcasing in a gallery in about a week. It's called Nordic LA is the space, and it's, I don't know, they have like this Nordic theme going on, and they said that my photos are like a good fit, so.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, so they have like I guess they have a DJ and then a songwriter and then a painter, and then they wanted one photographer, and so they asked me to do it. But I mean, in general, like that's my goal, just to do a lot more art shows, because I think that was the first money that I made off of like my photography, was selling them at galleries, or I would like enter contests and stuff and occasionally win. Like place at least. So I really love doing that, and I want to get back to that, because I would do more like obviously physical stuff, but like photo transfers on wood or found objects or canvas. So I don't know. Yeah. Made me feel more like a real artist, I guess. Like seeing it, and I don't know. It's really cool to like make money just off of photos that you wanted to take and not that like you were paid to take. Yeah. So I don't know.
How did you meet Tommy Trash?
My friend Fiona had just signed him to the management company she was working at, and I guess she was always friends with him, and then she just wanted to bring me on, and like she knew that I had been wanting to tour more, and so we met at his, the first time we met was actually at his gig that I was hired for, but we instantly hit it off. He's such a goofy guy, like so much fun. And we just have like really good chemistry, and we always have such a good time, and that was like the first, I think, flight that I had been bought.
Damn, that's
like
nice.
As a photographer to come tour, so it was cool.
Yeah. Other than the gallery, what do you have coming up?
Tomorrow I am shooting some promo photos for Rusko.
Oh, nice.
Which will be cool. Goals is to start more like merch with my photos on them. Like,
oh, nice.
I want to do clothes and other stuff. I have a lot of ideas and just things, but yeah, mostly just do more album art and more, like, I don't want to say less events, but more artistic stuff, I guess.
Yeah. What's your camera setup like now?
Right now I have a Nikon D800, but it's gonna get upgraded in the next couple months.
Nice.
Just waiting on a couple invoices to come through.
Yeah.
And then I mostly shoot with my 50 or 85 millimeter. Mm-hmm. And yeah, I shoot in the studio a lot, and then just kind of otherwise natural light usually.
Yeah. How do you think your work has changed since the early pictures you shot?
Well, before I was more focused on like the subject, which I think is like kind of common with photography. Like I was like, oh, this is a cool thing to shoot, so I'd just get a photo of it and like not really think too much about it, about that. And now I'm like very concerned with like the composition, which is like probably the most important thing to me. And I don't know, I was just more careless, I guess is the best way to put it. Like just kind of like rushed through photos. I would just snap it, and I don't know. And now I'm like actually thinking about what lens to use.
What do you say have been your biggest challenges so far?
I always start off like kind of either shooting for free or for really cheap, and so it's, I mean, like I said earlier, it's pretty hard to, or mentally hard, I guess, to like be like, actually I need money, or actually I need more money because I need to pay rent. And like, you know, not just be able to survive and be able to like buy new equipment and stuff, and like it's hard telling someone that you're worth it without feeling like you're for some reason doing something wrong. Just because in the music industry, like a lot of people have tight budgets, even like bigger artists, you'd be surprised, like everyone has a very small budget for photos, it seems.
I don't even know.
I mean, it's weird. Like I'm always surprised, and then some like artists who are a bit less known sometimes have a much bigger budget. Like it's very strange. So that is a big thing, and it really just like meeting people and like getting my name out there was the hardest thing. And I mean, now like obviously I have a lot of roots in electronic music, but I really want to shoot more in the rock, indie, pop sort of scene. Because I really love the music as well as just I feel like maybe my style is more suited for it.
Yeah, I can see that.
Yeah, so it's I don't know, everyone has sort of said like, oh, you're in the music industry, so it should be easy to just kind of switch lanes into a different genre, but it's not that easy. Like, so that's a struggle that I'm dealing with right now. Definitely, I'm not gonna like play like the gender card too much, but either it'll really help you or hold you back. Because I mean, even now sometimes I'll be shooting and I'll have my camera on me and people are like, oh, can I see your like wristband or whatever? And I'm like, I'm literally working right now.
Oh, wow.
I had a guy come up to me at like one of Getter's shows, and I had like a all access pass, and this guy who had like a VIP pass came up to me and he was like, "Hey, do you want me to take a photo of you and Tanner?" And I was like, "What?" Like, it was such a weird thing to say, and I was like, "Oh, thank you, I'm good." Like, I had my camera on with my flash and everything, and he's like basically trying to flex on me, thinking that like because I'm a girl, like either I know someone else or like that I don't know, like, and I was like, "I'm good, like I know Tanner, like I don't need a photo with him, like he's cool," but I don't know, stuff like that happens all the time. But then also I feel there's like a converse of that where a lot of people want to work with a girl for whatever reason, but so I don't know, it's kind of a half struggle, half like good thing, I guess.
Yeah. How do you think you've grown as a person since when you started?
I'm a bit more confident as far as like talking about like what I'm worth and like, you know, what's fair and stuff. I remember a couple summers ago I had like the situation where an artist, their manager booked me for like a specific day, and my flight was like a day and a half before that, and they're like, "Oh, we just wanted you to like get there sooner because it's like a long way away or something," and they didn't even like ask me, and I'd done it for like a lower rate anyway because I wanted, you know, as like a sign of like good faith, like, you know, I want to keep working with you, you know, this is our first time, like it's cool. And they, I don't know, just being taken advantage of, how to ask for things in a way that like is like, listen, like I see that you need this, but like this is where I'm coming from, instead of being too scared to, or like, I don't know, you just learn a lot about what you're worth and what you should be getting, not compared to other people, but like, I don't know, you'll eventually get into a rhythm. God, I don't party like at all anymore. Like,
Same.
So much of meeting people in music is going to events and just like being present and like staying till like through the after party and stuff. And and I mean, I definitely need to do more of that now, because I rarely
do anything.
I know, I'm like, I just want, like, at first my mindset was like, well, I just want to like focus on creating the best art that I can, so I need like sleep and not to be like drinking and stuff. But I mean, you kind of have to be present a lot. Not that people forget, because obviously if we're connected on like Instagram or something, but people think that like, people might think that you fell off if you just like don't go to events anymore.
Oh wow.
Or for me, like, I shoot more portraits now than events, or I mean, I still do some tours, but just being present is really important. And so now I'm actually having to like tell myself like, okay, I'm gonna go to one event a week, and before it was like I would go out every single night. I loved it.
You're meeting tons of people then, or
because I knew no one, so I was like, well, I just have to get in there, and now, I mean, got a lot of the partying out of my system, and now I'm a grandma.
Same. Last question, what do you want to be remembered for?
Taking photos that weren't like too many other people, or like with just having like a distinct style, and I don't know, just shooting more like meaningful things and like emotional things. Like, I guess, evoking a sense of emotion with my photos.
Love that. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Bye guys.